Namibia now joins the likes of Ghana, Uganda, and even hopefully Kenya to say no to LGBTQ. There's no place for LGBTQ on the continent, and this does not mean that go kill them, go stone them, go harm them. It just means that the constitution of Namibia does not recognize same-sex marriages, and Parliament is working so hard to ensure that this becomes a law. The upper parliament has already passed the law and is awaiting for the lower parliament to do so and for it to be assented into law by the president. But until that happens, Parliament is maintaining a stand that there's no place for LGBTQ in Namibia, and marriage is between a man and a woman, and anything outside of that is not recognized as marriage in Namibia. Failure to which you will go to jail and you will pay a hefty fine.
When it comes to marriage, we did not say all persons shall have the right to marriage. We said men and women shall have the right to form a family and marry. We deliberately put it there.
Hello there, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of our conversations. My name is Ondiro Oganga. I am a business journalist by profession and a digital content creator, and I'm always more than glad to jump on here and have a conversation with you guys about Africa, Black people, our empowerment, and how we can rise up and take our rightful place at the global stage. Now, a lot has been happening in Africa with regards to LGBTQ, the queer community, their rights, and their place in the African continent. This is not a new conversation on the continent. It's something that has been there for ages. I think as a Kenyan, the first time I actively heard about this conversation being brought to the continent was when President Barack Obama visited Kenya. I think that was about 2016 or something. Yeah, thereabout. Early in the mid 2013, 14, 15, 16, thereabout. And he was having like a meeting with President Uhuru Kenyatta at State House. And I remember very clearly that President Obama brought up the issue of gay rights in terms of gay marriages. Very clearly, gay marriages and their place in the community. And President Uhuru Kenyatta very respectfully said, we know who we are. We know our people, we know our culture. And so respectfully, we acknowledge that this is who you are. In America, this is what you believe in. But you also have to accept and respect that as Kenyans, we have our own way of living. Then I have actively heard this conversation again when I was living in Ghana. And Vice President Kamala Harris came to visit Ghana. That was it was a word salad trip, but part of her agenda, they spoke about LGBTQ rights in the country. Now, if you know anything about Ghana, you know that they have a very harsh bill with regards to anti-LGBTQ, and Vice President Kamala Harris just reinstated the commitment of America to ensure that everybody is safe irrespective of their gender and sexual orientation. And the president of Ghana, who has always been very vocal about LGBTQ and saying there's no place for LGBTQ in Ghana because Ghana is a God-fearing country, softened his stance and said, we've sent the bill back to Parliament and we're asking them to review it because we want everybody to be safe. Despite the fact that we have our own culture, we still want to be an accommodating people. Well, that did not last long because Parliament went back in session and the bill is back on board and it's being debated and it could pass very soon. Another place that this conversation is rife is in Uganda. Now, we know President Yoweri Museveni doesn't play about this. They've passed the bill and that's that. The next country is Namibia. Now, the conversation has been happening in the country. Homosexuality was made illegal in the country in the 1970s thereabout, and sex between two people of the same sex orientation was termed as sodomy, and it was illegal in the country. However, there has been a lot of changes and development in the country, and several human rights cases that have gone to court. Some of them have been won, and most recently the Supreme Court ruled in favor of same-sex marriages, saying if you're a Namibian married to a foreigner abroad, then that marriage can be recognized in Namibia. And so to people of the queer community, this was such a big win for them. This was a big win. This was a step in the right direction. But that win did not last long because this conversation was taken to Parliament. And Parliament was not very happy about the Supreme Court decision, you know. Members of Parliament insist that the Constitution of Namibia stipulates that marriage is between a man and a woman, and anything outside of that is not marriage. And so should you be found engaging in homosexual activities or try to break that law, then you should go to jail and you should be fined at least $5,500, right? And this has not been received well by human rights activists in Namibia. They say it's a step back in the wrong direction because Namibia was beginning to make the right strides in terms of human rights and just factoring in the well-being of people from the queer community. But members of Parliament are saying, no. We have our culture, we have our constitution, we have what we believe in, and the constitution stipulates that marriage is between a man.
1989, after the UNTAC election, when we drafted this constitution, there was a debate, should Namibia allow homosexuality or not? We debated and we said no. The founding fathers said no. Go and ask even those who are alive. In this constitution, comrades, Deputy Speaker, all the chapters talk of all persons shall have the right to do this. All people shall have the right to do this. All persons shall have the right to education, shall have the right to right. But when it comes to marriage, we did not say all persons shall have the right to marriage. We said men and women shall have the right to form a family and marry. We deliberately put it there under chapter 30.
Now, it is important to note that Namibia is part of the South African bloc, and one of the Southern African countries has very progressive and favorable laws towards people of LGBTQ community. South Africa is one of those countries, you know, they've legalized gay marriages in South Africa. You can marry your partner legally without any repercussions in South Africa. We've seen so many of those marriages. They can even be officiated in church. So South Africa has sort of accepted LGBTQ and integrated these people as part of their community and extended to them the same rights and privileges that heterosexual people are extended to. But members of Parliament in Namibia are saying that should not be the premise. South Africa is allowed to do its own thing as South Africa, but Namibia is also allowed autonomy of thought to decide what's best for Namibia.
We are not subjected to any law of any foreign countries. We are independent on our own. Whether it is in South Africa, we are not a colony of South Africa. We fought the race in South Africa. What happened in South Africa, in all our neighboring countries, or in America and Europe, whether they allow homosexuality, that is their own problem. We cannot say because that country allow homosexuality, we must allow here homosexuality.
Well, thank you very much for watching. That's all I had for you. Let me know what you think. Do you support the sentiments by members of Parliament in Namibia that, you know, marriage is between a man and a woman, and Namibia should be allowed to make its own decision without being pressured and influenced to make similar decisions like South Africa or decisions that the West might find favorable? It's also very important to note that it's yet to become a law. It's still being debated in Parliament. Though the upper house has given it a go-ahead, the lower house has to give it a go-ahead, then the president will have the final say. So we wait to see what direction Namibia will take with regards to LGBTQ. Will it go the South Africa way, or is it going to join Ghana and Uganda in condemning LGBTQ activities on the continent? I'll see you again.